All right, guys, you got your boy Jess Stinger here today, and today we are back with some more Reverse 1999 content, and we're gonna be wrapping this up with the Euphoria details for Marcus, Eternity, and Vila. These are some very surprising picks for Euphorias because I still do feel like Vila still has some relevant use in today's content. Marcus, I can understand because she's definitely fallen off since then, and Eternity. I don't know. I feel like Eternity still has some relevancy in global, like a little bit because of low HP comps, but now that's going to be changed over to Blood Teeth. But it was confirmed that these Euphorias were not really more so based off global, but more so based off CN, which is the parent version of the game. So it's just nice that we're going to be getting these Euphorias as well because, well, this is a synchronized patch. So everything that's going to happen in CN will also happen in global at the same time. So that's really cool. So let's talk about what Marcus got and let's talk about how she has improved. Now, usually what I like to do is I talk about the primary issues of the characters before we really get into the Euphoria. If you're new to the channel, hi, how are you? How you doing? But anyway, I think Marcus's biggest problem was that I think it's just she was just an older character, honestly. I think her having the low crit technique too also hurt her DPS potential because she has one of the lower crit techniques in the game, which of course does suck for her because that means it's really hard for her to really capitalize on high damage values, even with her premium team being Vila and Mercuria as two crit rate supports who stack on top of each other. I think it's also kind of gimmicky too that she kind of had to have a plant, spirit, and intelligence type units in her team, but for what it's worth, it was only really just for Moxie recursion, which of course did help her out, but and for what it's worth, it was just probably she's just an older character, and that's really just it. So anyway, let's talk about it. So Percival, which is the effect I think you get when you have the correct team. So you have a plant, spirit, or intelligence characters in the team. You get the Percival effect, which basically herself counts as a plant, and with Mercuria and Vila, that was your automatic 2, which normally is her premium team, which of course gets you the Percival status effect. Or you can use Argus as well as another support option to also be another slot for you to get towards that Percival effect. So let's see what she gets. After an ally casts a high rank incantation, Marcus gains pages lived. At the start of the round, Marcus consumes page lived to generate one precast incantation of reading class. When having enough pages lived, Marcus then consumes pages lived to generate one precast from the lantern if able. Okay, so that's really good. That gives her more ability to kind of rotate back into her attacks. The only way Marcus would normally generate precast only from ult. So normally she would generate one level 1 of reading class from her ultimate. So now that she basically now has a potential turn every single time that there's a high rank incantation. Now we have to really specify what it means to have a high rank incantation. We don't know if we necessarily mean a 3-star rank incantation or a 2-star. We don't really know. It could be like kind of like a high, medium, a low, medium, high type of situation where low is considered 1-star, medium is considered 2, high considered 3. That could potentially be it, but it could very well mean that a 2-star is considered as a high. We don't necessarily know what is the criteria there. It doesn't really say if it's 2, if it's 3 specifically. But I personally think if it's going to be a 3, that's not the worst thing in the world for her, because remember, she does have the ability to rank up her own incantation by consuming Eureka, and with Mercurius ultimate effect up, you will be able to more than likely get what is essentially a 3-star cast pretty consistently. So for what it's worth, I think that works, so that's fine. So it's not a terrible rank 1, but it's definitely solid. It's not broken or anything, but it's definitely solid. Alright, rank 2. Let me see. The preparation Marcus now generates, The preparation Marcus gained from this ultimate now generates a high cast precast incantation of reading class instead. Okay, we're already fixing that problem just out of the gate. So now, this basically means that she now will be able to at least get one of these when she does ult. That's good. When attacking, Marcus consumes pages there to enhance the attack's incantation effect. Okay, so reading class does what? Deals additional mental damage at higher incantation. This attack gains additional increase in penetration rate. Now, if my memory does recall me, I believe Marcus does have a 30% pin rate attached to the 3-star cast of this card. If we're again assuming high rank is a 3-star, then this could bump it up to maybe like a 50% pin rate. I don't think that they're gonna do anything crazy like give her like maybe like a 60 to 70. This is again basing this off of CN, so maybe CN might just have the higher value. To be completely honest, we might just end up seeing a 60% pin rate. We might see a 70 or maybe even an 80% pin rate. I don't think it's gonna have a 100% pin rate. That's just unheard of. I think what I'm trying to think. I'm trying to think of a unit that has pin rate. There's not too many units that have pin rate built into their kit. I want to say Jew does, and I think Jew has a max of like 90% pin rate if I'm not mistaken. I believe that is what it is. I think it's 50%. I think it goes additional if you go up to further amounts with portraits. But I think it's 50% base higher if I'm not mistaken. I could be blanking out on memory there. If I'm wrong, apologies. But I know for sure she has pin rate built to her ult when you consume a certain amount of stacks of liquor to give it pin rate. So if they make it 50%, that's still ultimately fine off of a 3-star cast of a card. So that is that. It does make me now think that high rank probably does mean 3, considering that, you know, these are primarily buffing the tier 3 effect of the card. So yeah. Anyway, from the Lantern. From the Lantern deals additional mental damage. If the target's in annotate status, this attack deals higher mental damage. Now, if I'm not mistaken, I believe the higher damage boost was about a 75% modifier buff, which was pretty mid because the AoE skill had a 300% modifier attached to his kit. So it's not the highest modifier in the world, to be completely frank, but it's at least something that was at least useful. So I would definitely say that it's definitely something that could work out for her. But for the most part, it is kind of just whatever. I would hope to see that this gets maybe like doubled, maybe like a 150, because a 450 AoE wouldn't be terrible for this current state of the game. So there's that. And next chapter, which is the ultimate, deals additional mental damage if the target's in annotate status, which, yeah. The attack deals higher mental damage, if I'm not mistaken. I believe it's 200% extra that she performs on AoE if the target's in annotate. So if they're gonna make this improved, maybe double it. I mean, maybe double it as a 650 on main target to kind of make it feel like a single target ultimate, and then the other targets could get like 200, maybe the 250% base. That could potentially be a good thing for her. That could be a good thing for her. So that could be strong. That could be. I mean, there's not too much that they could really. I mean, I don't know. I'd probably say double it though. I think double it's a safe assumption though. Double is probably 400%, and then it becomes a 600% AoE, 650% on the main target that's annotated, and then a 250 on the others. That's fine. All right, so rank 3. Enemies in the annotate status no longer grant Eureka to Marcus when they take an action. Oh, okay, that's interesting. Instead, when Marcus attacks a target and that's in the annotate status, Marcus's excess crit rate is converted into critical damage, and she gains Eureka. Okay, that's actually interesting, but it's kind of worrying at the same time. Now, while I think this is a fantastic damage boost for Marcus unfortunately has one of the worst crit techniques in the game, the fabled 305. If you guys don't know what that means, it's one of the lowest numbers you can have in crit technique for a lot of characters in the game, meaning they don't have good crit ratios. Granted, again, 2 of her best supports are both crit rate buffers, and maybe now with Cassandra coming along the way, or another unit that could potentially give you like crit rate overflow. For example, you can run her with like Lepera to get another 40% crit rate, for example. Then maybe Marcus will finally be able to hit 100% consistently. So you could run Marcus, Vila, Mercuria, and Lepera as a possible team, just to really utilize this effect. But that does sound like that you're running through a lot just to really get Marcus to hit the max crit rate, when a lot of units can simply just run either 1 or 2 of these units, and then they're able to achieve that 100% crit rate value. So it's a little concerning for me, but maybe with the stats that she get from her Euphoria, the actual passive, that she probably ends up getting she probably ends up getting additional critical rate or something. You know, the whole point of it is for her to get that crit rate up. So I assume she'll probably get like a critical rate boost. I'm hoping maybe like 20%. If I'm being hopeful, I'd say about 20% crit. I think that's probably good enough for her to at least be considered more so in a comfortable spot by using her 2 premium supports that you can get her up to past 100%. And that's kind of what I'm hoping for. But this is still pretty good though. All right. For every certain stacks of pages lived gained, at the end of the round gains continuous action 1. Wow. Okay, that's really, really good. Another +1 AP generator has entered the fray. Now, this is our 3rd one in the game, which is fantastic. I believe our current 2 options right now is Flutter Page and Alf are the only 2 +1 AP generators in the game. And this really just depends on how many stacks of pages live that you have to consume. I assume with the Vila Mercuria core, and we don't even know what Vila does yet, you should be getting consistent high tier incantations to get pages lived. So it might be I don't know if it's going to be every turn, but maybe every other turn, maybe possibly, but we'll see. We'll definitely see. It depends on a certain amount of stacks that need to be consumed and how many stacks you can give to markets depending on their type of teams. But what I love most about this Euphoria is that this didn't really shoehorn her into any other type of team, like as a support. It's funny because I was having a conversation with people on the CN server about Marcus specifically, and I was like, well, maybe Marcus might be a good trigger for Fire Sprouts, because that's one of the new archetypes that's happening in CN right now is Fire Sprouts. And because Juvis, I believe, is the starter of that with her recent Euphoria that she got there. And I was thinking like, well, maybe they might put Marcus in Fire Sprouts because, you know, she can probably trigger the Fire Sprouts, whatever, whoop whoop. But now they pretty much made her into her just but better, which is, you know, I kind of like this more over forcing them to kind of be in a different archetype altogether. So I really like this Euphoria. I actually do think that this is probably going to be a Euphoria that I immediately max for the effect and just to see how she works. So this is a really good Euphoria in my honest opinion. It really just has to come down to the fact of how consistently can you get your high rank incantations, or if Vila herself could possibly help with incantations or personally her own overall kit. But yeah, let's see. Alright, Eternity is the next character on this list, and this is going to be for her Euphoria. Let's see what she got. Alright, new effects. Whenever an ally loses HP, accumulate points of Blood Teeth. Okay, so she's going the Blood Teeth route, which it's funny because I make the joke about this all the time about her and Simplify since they're both vampires. How they kind of similarly go hand in hand with each other. When the low HP comp was kind of taking off, Eternity got a spot there because Semmelweis was the DPS there and the support, well, more so DPS, but DPS for the low HP comp. And then Eternity helped because she can take everyone's HP and give you crit rate, crit damage as an added value. And that, of course, was great for ramping up Semmelweis' ultimate follow-up attack, which, you know, was pretty nice. But then now it feels like the other way around, where Eternity's gonna take the Blood Teeth route, and Semmelweis will be joining her shortly after on Global. But Global on CN though, she already has the Euphoria for Blood Teeth, so let's see what this does. And with a Blood of Immortality, which is her stacked buff, I believe. At the start of the round, consumes certain HP from all allies, and if Blood Teeth has reached certain points, consumes a corresponding amount to rank up Blood of Immortality, and this increases Eternity's attack and attack based on her max HP. Okay, so this looks like she's going a damaging route, so it's probably going to be that Eternity takes the DPS route this time, while Semmelweis plays the support route, which, you know, pretty good. Also, from the looks of this looks like already a budget option if you didn't pull Natika, and this gives you an option to then still pull for the Blood Teeth characters, which is like Sentinel, or if you wanted to use Ezra too, because he can also work in this team currently in Global. Semmelweis doesn't have her Global, she doesn't have her Euphoria, but CN she does. Ezra has his Blood Teeth Euphoria. and Sentinel has not released yet, and she won't be releasing until 3.0 if I'm not mistaken. So that's about 2 more patches ahead. So that's probably like, I want to say that's probably around like maybe November, December range. So we'll see. But anyway, let's get right into the rest of the information. Alright, when Blood Immortality has reached the next rank, gives Vigor Handbag and Vintage Handfan and grants Moxie to sell. Okay, so she gets 2 new buffs. We don't know what these buffs are just yet because it doesn't say values. And she grants Moxie to sell. Okay, that means easier access to her ult, but her ult wasn't really anything fantastic, so let's see if that gets changed. Alright, rank 3. When Blood of Immortality is at a high rank, I assume probably rank 4, rank 5 probably. Antidotes and Exers is always a critical hit and deals additional reality damage. Oh, okay, well, speaking of it not really doing enough damage, now it's guaranteed crit and deals additional reality. We have to see how much additional that she does, so we'll see. I'm kind of hoping that she gets a lot added to her modifier, to be completely honest. I wonder if it's going to be focusing around her Antidotes and Exer, which is the ult. I wonder if you can throw in Millennia for crit, not for crit, but for ultimate support. This might be potential to throw in the Millennia ult for the fixed plan to give to everyone, and then once Eternity reaches a certain rank, you can do the Antidotes and Extra consistently while having that 72% ultimate might bonus with the whatever bonuses comes off of this. We have to see how much it gives, but I do think potentially speaking, Millennia could very well work as an early option for Global because again, Global doesn't have the full Blood Teeth team. So I do think possibly, right, in CN it's probably going to be her and Sentinel and, you know, Semmelweis and probably just a sustain, probably like Medicine Pocket or Fatutu or something along that range. But global might be able to make use of her because again, we don't have Sentinel and we don't have Semmelweis' Euphoria yet. So could be that, but I definitely want to try it when it comes out. Let me see. Rank 4. At the start of the round, if Blood of Immortality has reached the maximum rank, so high rank probably doesn't mean rank 5. Consume some Blood Teeth and cast Antidotes and Extra. Okay, so that means she can automatically cast her ult so long as she has Blood Teeth. Ooh. So that means she can automatically follow up with ult every single time. That's pretty good. Again, it really hinges off the fact of how much they give to her ultimate. But this one I'm going to say I'm a little cautiously excited for. I'm cautiously excited. I'll say that. I'm cautiously excited. But it looks good on premise, but we have to, again, see the numbers. We won't probably see the numbers until maybe a week before the collab starts. And then, you know, once the information comes out and it's able to come out in the game, of course, I'll do some testing. I'll mess around with her in different teams, see what works, see what doesn't. And we'll kind of go from there. Of course, I'll be always making teams for these type of characters in the near future. So make sure you guys like, make sure you guys comment, make sure you guys subscribe for that, because I will be making teams for the collab characters and these characters once we kind of get more information. I'm able to test these characters out and see what works and see what doesn't work. Of course, when I have conversations with other people who will be having these characters as well. So, but I will say currently right now, I'm very excited for Marcus. I'm okay for Eternity. Let's see what Vila got. So Vila, after an ally is attacked, if the ally is below a certain HP, Vila casts a wordless song on that ally. Okay, so that's an automatic heal. That's fantastic out of the gate. One of the problematic things about Vila is that when she's not in her ultimate status, healing tends to be a little bit on the rough side because she can only heal one target. So at least having an automatic heal can help kind of mitigate that effect a little bit, which is again pretty nice. Rank 2, when entering a battle, Vila increases healing done, very good, based off her max HP, very good. Very good. She does have a respectable HP stat. When entering the battle, Vila gains additional Moxie. Now, since she kind of already gains Moxie, I assume she's probably just going to get +5 straight up. Or even +3, +2 or +3 or +5 are going to be the values I'm going with. The reason why I suspect this because she already gets Moxie at the start of the battle when you pair her with mental units for a maximum of 3 on start. So this probably just means that you probably just get the 5 Moxie and then you can ultimate literally turn 1, which is actually really good for accelerating. That means you get early access to a premium buff. which of course comes with the modifier buff and everything. So really nice. All right, so rank 3, which is Rusaka, which is the unique effect when you're an ultimate. Added effect, the ultimate of Plant, Spirit, and Intelligence characters, most of which are now considered high rank incantations. So that's straight up synergy with Marcus. Yeah, that's quite frankly just, yeah, let's just put that for Marcus. Okay, good. So that's gonna be another application for supporting Mark. Okay, that makes sense. Okay, when Vila's in a Rusaka status, she can now gain her ultimate, which is fantastic because she couldn't do that before. At the start of the round, if Vila's in a Rusaka status, she ranks up a random incantation. Ooh, ranks up a random incantation. That's really good. So this really does enforce Marcus's premium team. It really does. Like, I keep saying Marcus's premium team with her, Vila, Mercuria as the premium options. I've been saying that since the start of the video when talking about Marcus. That's always been her premium team, with a fourth option either being someone like Argus, who makes good use of the rank up effects because she can get higher cast of her follow-up attack. You can run someone like Flutter Page just for extra AP currency and buffing. You won't really need that now because now Marcus can grant you +1 AP. You can always run like Kakania for 2/2 as a sustain option. It didn't really matter necessarily, but for the most part, you definitely wanted Marcus. You definitely wanted Marcus, Vila, and Mercuria as your core 3, but the fourth option was always kind of like up for flex. So this is really good. The fact that they're now considered as high rank incantations, and the fact that Mercuria, especially after P1, can get Moxie a little bit more consistently, might be pretty good. This might also help Merc too, because one of the things that currently sucks about Mercuria currently is that she doesn't really have great access to level 3s outside of the rank up effect, and you can get into a level 2, which is a little bit easier, honestly. But again, it really depends on what is being ran with her, right? It really depends. Like, certain units make it easier for her, like the on you, for example. You can get level 3s pretty consistent with her when you're using the red talent stuff. But when it comes to other teams and other teams you can support, like Marcus, you can get a level 3 because of Marcus, but your other cast, you need it on a consistent basis, and that sometimes you may not always get it on a consistent level. So now this makes it pretty much consistent with Vila's support and Marcus as well. So pretty good. And rank 4, Song of Inspiration added effects. Song of Passion added to the target grants Moxie to self. Okay, so this is really good. This now allows you to put multiple songs, or it allows you to song on another person. One of the things that Vila tends to do when she's in her unique status and that versatile card that pops up is she kind of wants to put it onto herself, which it doesn't really give you much of an option to kind of spread it around. The big problem with that was because Vila's not an active unit by any stretch of the word. Of course, you still would need to buff, heal when necessary, etc. But that's at the most 1 AP a turn, which you want to be able to get into 5 before you you want to get to 5 before you get down, before your stat runs out, so that way the next turn you can just rinse repeat. Now with the other additional effects, it looks like you may just be able to continuously cycle her ult. Kind of similar to like a GTN Euphoria effect that he got, where he can kind of stay in ult for a long time. This could be one of those situations, which is actually pretty dope. Now, multiple Song of Generosities or Song of Passions can exist on either side at once, which is, that's insane. That's beautiful. That's the best thing I can ask for. Just offer it. The reason why this is such a big buff for Vila is her primary buff, which is again a fantastic buff, by the way, because it gives you the crit rate, crit damage, and it gives you a modifier buff when she's in her unique status. It's a very strong buff, but you can only put this on one ally at a time, which In certain compositions where you run a sub in a dual DPS, or even just units who can help chip away at the boss, not being able to buff them does lower their damage potential. So now we have a way to buff it with other characters, and that's really good. Vila just shot up to the rankings for me. I think now she's gonna be fantastic. Um, I love the consistency of this. I think her Euphoria pretty much fixed up all of her problems. So yeah, I think that this is a really good Euphoria. Honestly, I think this is a very, very, very good Euphoria. Honestly, and yeah, I'm gonna be honest and say that that's a very good Euphoria. Being able to now fix all of her problems, consistent. Well, the healing is now more consistent. The effects tied to her ultimate is gonna be +1 synergy for Marcus, and then being able to now buff all allies potentially with the song. We have to see if they maybe increase the duration of the song though, because the song is only 2 turns. So maybe if you wanted to run dual DPS comps, you have to bounce between both units. So there's that. I mean, it looks like at least you can now have Song of Inspiration, pass it to one ally for the Song of Passion effect, or it'd be Generosity if it was in base, but Passion is the stronger version. So Passion off of the Inspiration, and then you can just manually buff another ally for both of the effects. So I think that's what that's gonna be. But for what it's worth, fantastic effect, fantastic Euphoria. I think all 3 of these characters have potential to be useful, in my honest opinion. I think from most excited to least excited, I think I'm going to be most excited for Vila, second excited for Marcus, and third for Eternity. That's probably what I'm going to be. I also love how these two are literally back in the same team together. They put them back in the same team, which is already really good. I love that they did this because it didn't really take them away from their team or put them in any kind of different archetype, which was fantastic. We just now need to run her with Mercuria and so on and so forth. But anyway, this has been your boy Jet Stinger, and let me know what you guys think about the Euphorias in the comment section below, and I'll see you guys next time. Peace.